I cannot believe I finally get to sit down and record this video and share this amazing news with you guys, as you can tell by the title of this video and also by that little intro announcement clip that I put in at the beginning of the video. I am pregnant, which is so exciting. I feel like I've been keeping the secret in for so long and I'm just so excited to finally share it with you guys. It is just such an exciting time and I cannot wait to finally share all of the details with you guys and to share the continued journey of being pregnant with you guys on here finally. But I wanted to kind of just make a video to let you guys know that I am pregnant and share a few little details of my first trimester, finding out, and all just like the cute little things that I love to hear about in these types of videos and just kind of share my journey. So I wanted to start off by saying a few things. First of all, I am so out of breath. Obviously, I'm pregnant. It's a very big pregnancy symptom and I'm going to try really hard not to be super out of breath talking to you guys. However, it's just gonna happen. So I have been gone for a while now. I haven't posted on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, any of my social media platforms I have not been posting on, and this is the reason why. I did come back to TikTok a few weeks ago and was like, I'm in the biggest reading slump, that's why I've been gone, I'm so sorry. But little did you guys know, I actually was pregnant and that was the reason for my reading slump. It was so bad. This baby just wanted to take up all my time and did not want me reading. So that's what happened there. Now, my husband and I actually did decide to start trying. We had talked about it and it was a decision that we had made together. So we'd been trying for about 3 months when we fell pregnant. I am currently 15 weeks and 5 days pregnant. So I'm definitely well out of the first trimester and currently at the beginning stages of my second trimester, which I'm so happy about. And I can't believe how fast time has gone, but also that first part of my first trimester was so slow. And I think that just came down to the fact that I found out so early. When I found out, I had obviously, like I said, we'd been trying for 3 months. However, we had not been trying religiously. I did want to point that out because the journey of trying to conceive is so different for everybody, and I just want to acknowledge that I totally understand it is so hard for some couples. It breaks my heart truly, because those 3 months that we were trying was hard for me, so I cannot imagine what that is like for the couples that have been trying for years and just really struggling. My heart goes out to you guys and I just pray for patience and support and love for you guys. And I just know that if you truly believe that you're meant to be parents and that, you know, you want to be a mum, you want to be a dad, that's just how it's meant to be. You will be a mum or dad eventually. It doesn't matter how it's going to happen. If you've got that desire, God has put that in your heart, and so it will happen. I truly believe that. But again, my husband and I were so lucky and so blessed to fall pregnant on our 3rd month of trying. When we decided to start trying, we didn't want it to kind of overtake our lives. We didn't want to take the joy out of trying. So we didn't want to be like tracking my ovulation through my temperature and like all this stuff. I definitely had said to him, if it's going to take a long time, I think I will get to that stage of wanting to put a little bit more effort in. However, I was like, I'm willing to just see how it goes for the first few months. So definitely the first 2 months, it was just kind of like, let's just do it, whatever, and like see how we go. And the 3rd month, we definitely did try a lot more around my ovulation time, which I only got my ovulation time around my period app, which I had been using for years. So I kind of trusted that it knew my cycle pretty well. And obviously it did, because we fell pregnant. So yeah, everyone's journey is different. Put all my love out there to the couples that are currently in the trying to conceive process of all of this, and I'm just so excited for you for when you do finally find out you're pregnant, because it's just so awesome. Now, speaking of finding out that you're pregnant, I wanted to talk about the ups and downs of the emotions of actually finding out we were pregnant. Now, my husband and I, obviously, like I said, we had talked about trying. We knew that we were both ready to try. We had gone through this whole process kind of before, where I really needed to slow down and I needed to acknowledge that there was another person in this relationship, another person that is going to go through all of this with me. So I had to wait until he was ready as well, but also I wanted him to acknowledge where I was at, that I was so excited and I'd been so excited for so long. So I kind of had said to him, look, I'm willing to wait for you to be ready, but I also need you to be working towards getting ready, because I don't want to be waiting years when I've already been so excited and been waiting a while, you know? So we definitely both worked to meet in the middle, and I feel like we did that really well. When I found out I was pregnant, I will put up a video of me finding out and also me telling my husband, but I'll just go a little bit more in depth about kind of the emotions behind it all, because I was so excited when I first found out I was pregnant. I just was like, this is incredible, this is amazing, but it was such a surreal moment. I was like, what? Like, it's just one thing to go from I'm so excited to get pregnant, I'm so excited to be a mom, to then being like, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna be a mom, my life is gonna change forever. Like, it's just it's crazy. I actually think there's literally now currently a life inside of me growing. Like, it was just such a surreal moment, but it also was almost so surreal to the point that I didn't believe it. I was like, what? Like, that can't be real. Like, how can I just like not be pregnant and then pregnant one day? What? That's crazy. It definitely took some time to kind of really start to feel it and be like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. But it did come with a little bit of stress and anxiety, because the reality behind having a baby is crazy. The journey that I have to go on, the life that I am leaving behind, and the life that I'm about to go into is huge. It's such a big change. It's such a big thing. And I found that when I found out, and then even when I told my husband, we went through this kind of roller coaster of, this is so incredible, this is so amazing, to wow, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is real. I know we'd said we were excited, we'd been trying, we were really keen, but wow, this is huge. Like, this is really going to change our lives forever. And I remember in the moment after I told my husband, I said to him, how are you feeling? And I was like, I want you to be honest with me, because I know as much as I'm really excited right now and you're excited, this is a big thing, and I want you to be able to share your feelings with me without feeling like I'm judging you for being a bad husband, for being a bad dad. Tell me how you're feeling. And you know, he was like, this is scary and this is huge, and the reality of it is crazy, because you can only process so much when you say we're going to start trying, but when you actually have physical evidence that it's starting, like this journey is starting now, we have no way of slowing it down or anything. It's a lot. And so we actually spent a huge amount of time that night, the whole night, basically just chatting about everything, chatting about how we're feeling, all the good feels, the excitement, when I was due, what our life is going to look like during pregnancy, like all the events that we've got coming up, and then also just grieving the life that we do have and that we have had as a couple for 6-7 years, to then what our life is going to look like afterwards. And that comes with some really scary moments. It comes with some anxiety and stress, and just again grieving the life that we had, but also just being so excited about this incredible thing that is going to bring so much joy to us. Whether it's going to be hard and stressful in that moment as well, it's going to be so exciting. So it was just really good to sit down and have that moment with each other, and to acknowledge that as much as this is so exciting, we've been trying for this, it's also scary. Now, my first trimester, I want to really briefly go over the bigger symptoms that I had and the ones that I felt like were really took over my life. Obviously, I had so many symptoms, and I think I will definitely go more in depth with that with my first trimester vlog that I have recorded and we'll put together. I wasn't great at recording that. First trimester's hard, but for now I'm just going to mention like few key points. So to start off with, nausea. I actually have emetophobia. If you don't know what that is, it's like extreme fear of sickness. If you have emetophobia, just trigger warning. When I say sickness, I mean like vomiting. That is just like my worst nightmare. And so going into being pregnant and my first trimester, I was quite anxious. I got so blessed. Thank you, Jesus, that I had no sickness in my first trimester other than nausea. So no, trigger warning again, no vomiting, but I did have some morning sickness in regards to nausea, but definitely not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I remember saying to my husband at one point, if this is as bad as it gets, I can do this. This is manageable. It sucks and it's not fun, but it's manageable. I definitely found that when I was hungry and I hadn't been eating, and also at night, was the worst. I think my nausea lasted from like 6 weeks till about 9 weeks. I did around the 12-week mark up until 13-14 weeks. Even now, if I don't eat, I get nauseous again. But what? Oh my gosh, my husband is crazy. The way to get me to look at my phone, he literally put on the Find My and was like, "Dit, dit, 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 dit." Anyway, I'm back, but I need to be quick because apparently I've got to go do something now for him. So I just tried to make myself super comfortable at night, do things that brought me comfort, sit and watch Gilmore Girls. I would eat foods that sounded good to me, and I would drink like fizzy drinks because that helped settle my stomach and that sort of stuff. However, this nausea was just very easy to manage, and so I just felt very, very grateful. Talking about eating, another symptom was I was so hungry. I just wanted to eat all the time, even when I was nauseous. Not only hungry, I was eating a lot more quantity wise than I thought I would. One of my biggest symptoms, which I found was the hardest thing, and I don't feel like a lot of women have talked about this being their hardest symptom or even having this symptom. I definitely think it's common, but not crazy common. So my thing was my mental state and also having no motivation. So having no motivation definitely played into my mental state. I felt like the laziest girl. I felt no motivation, not just to like do things like recording videos, being on TikTok and all of that stuff, but even eating, showering, walking, looking after my body, I had no motivation. In my brain I was going, Taylor, get up, do this, you gotta do this. It was just like, I can't, like I literally can't do it. And it really, that affected my mental health because I was beating myself up. I was feeling guilty for not helping my husband. I was feeling gross in myself because I wasn't showering as much as I should. I wasn't eating as much as I should. And so I wasn't looking after myself, and it just felt really gross and bad. And I wasn't going for walks. I don't think I got any natural vitamin D because I just wasn't leaving the house. It was really bad. And it got pretty dark there for a minute, and I knew that it was definitely just hormones. Like I just knew in my brain, I could talk myself through it. This is not normal. This is just the hormones. And also it is so normal to not feel motivated and to feel tired. I need to give myself grace because I'm doing so much. Like I'm literally growing life. My problem was, and I think something that I will think about next time I get pregnant, or to give you guys some advice, find something just small to do during the day in order to use your brain. So whether that is doing a Sudoku, finding little crafts to do. This is something I should have done. I should have found a paint by numbers or crochet project or something like that in order to stimulate my brain just a little bit, but not too much effort that I was like, I don't want to do that. That sounds awful to me. As soon as I started doing that, and as soon as I started going for just small walks, even 5-minute walks, I felt so much better. Definitely was a matter of time as well. Just I think that everything else played into it, like the nausea and all of that played into my mental health, but it definitely was really hard mentally there for a second. And luckily in Australia, I don't know about other countries, but we have some amazing resources here. I didn't take advantage of them, but I knew that they were there in case I really did need them. But if you need help in anything to do with pregnancy, especially your mental health, there are so many resources. There are free resources. Just really take advantage of that if you need it. My other thing, and probably the biggest thing, is like, and most people ask about this, is food aversions and cravings. I definitely had more food aversions than I did cravings. I don't feel like cravings was a huge thing. I didn't have any crazy pregnancy cravings that they talk about, just like wacky ones, which I kind of wanted because I thought that would be fun. But I'm glad I didn't have any cravings where I was like, I need this right now, otherwise I'm gonna hurt someone. I didn't have that. I was just like, more if you just feel sick in general, there's certain foods that sound good and certain foods that don't sound good, and that was just kind of what I had. I'm like, okay, fresh fruit, Vegemite toast, like that sort of stuff sounds good, so that's what I was craving, like grapes, watermelon, that sort of stuff. I was like, that sounds really good. And the things that did not sound good to me, like meat, in particular red meat, which funnily enough I got told by my doctor that I needed to have more red meat, and I was like, I can't. I literally feel physically sick when I try and eat that. However, I could have mince, so I just tried to include that, and even though it probably didn't have as much like iron in it that I needed. Chicken though was fine, which was good. That was my source of protein at the time. Anything milky or creamy, nah. However, that did not include coffee. I did want coffee every day. There was a section at the beginning where I tried not to have coffee for like a week, and it really was not good. And I obviously got told it's okay to drink coffee, just one a day. Anything milky, I was like, no thank you. And then my other thing was breast tenderness. I definitely didn't have like super bad pain. However, I could just tell that they were super tender, especially because I didn't have crazy tender breasts during like my period symptoms throughout my life. So I wasn't really used to that sensation. And the growth of my boobs, like being in the itty bitty titty committee, it's just crazy crazy having actual breastage. I'm like, what? This is crazy. Except I don't want them to get too big, but also do your thing, girl. If you're gonna be literally creating food for my baby, do what you need to do. I had this weird like sharp shooting nipple pain, but only in like one nipple. I was like, oh, that does not feel good. But also at the same time, it was super easy to just like live life while feeling that. It wasn't debilitating, if you know what I mean. Moving on and kind of getting towards the end, telling friends and family, we had decided that we wanted to wait a little bit to tell friends and family, just like more for my husband's reassurance to know that we were definitely pregnant, that it was gonna stick, but not to like wait until 12 weeks to tell everyone. We kind of ended up telling friends as we saw them. We didn't make a huge effort to be like, hey, let's hang out. It was just more like when we saw them, we would tell them. And then my family doesn't live in Sydney, and so there was a time when my mum and my older sister were coming to Sydney, and I was like, that's the perfect time to tell them. And then my dad comes down every 2 weeks for work, so I told him one time when he was down, and that was probably around 8 weeks that I think I told them. So I'd known for 4 weeks at that point, which was crazy to hold in. However, it did help that I wasn't seeing them very often, because I only see them on FaceTime, and that's probably like once or twice a week. So it was just a matter of like not spilling anything. With my partner's family, I think we decided to tell them around the same time as telling my family. It was super fun, obviously, just like so exciting. It was really a time of like my pregnancy that I was so excited about, but it was so nerve-wracking because I was like, so I don't know how to tell you. Like, I just feel like it was such an awkward thing to tell people, but it was also so fun, and I tried to get as much of it on video, so hopefully I can do a video showing you guys of me telling my family and friends. We didn't feel like the need to have to wait until we were out of the first trimester, because we just knew that if something did happen, we would want to tell those people anyway, and we would share that news with them and want that support from them. I know everyone's different, and no matter what decision you make, that's up to you to decide. There's no right or wrong decision. It's just how you feel about it. It's your pregnancy. Anyway, that's kind of all I have to kind of talk to you guys about when it comes to first trimester and all of that stuff. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments, because I'm more than happy to do like a Q&A, talk more in depth about certain things, just depending on what you guys want to hear about. If I've forgotten anything, let me know, and hopefully I can kind of catch you guys up on that. Again, I have done a first trimester vlog, however, I did find it really hard to remember to vlog things, so there's probably big gaps in that. That'll be coming out, but again, if you've got any questions, just let me know. I'm more than happy to let you guys know and share it with you guys. I am putting all of my love out there for all of the girlies that are currently in their first trimester trenches. You can do this. You will get through it. It feels like it'll last forever and that it'll never be ending, but just remember, this is for a good reason. Once you are going through labor and you give birth, I am sure that we will all be like, you know what, I would do that again, just to give life to such an amazing, beautiful, special little bubba. And I cannot wait to meet our bubba. So yeah, I'm so glad I finally got to share this amazing news with you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video.